with another brand new tutorial. So what are we talking about today? Hi. So you developers, at times you might want to save your file, keep your file, manage your versions of file and stuff like that. So that's why I came up with this idea of why can't we just go through the 10 basic most important JIT commands that any developer needs to know before you start programming. So here are the 10 most used commands, which I think or I feel is good if you as a developer, you get to know. So what is JIT? JIT is a very important tool used in version management by programmers. There are others like the Subversion, SVN, and others. However, I'm mainly focusing on JIT. That will help you also manage your version in a repository that support JIT, like the GitLab and GitHub, a Bitbucket and stuff. So those will help you keep version or use the JIT itself, the JIT technology in doing those version management. So JIT is widely used in the software industry. And so because to master JIT, there's a lot of commands that we need to learn before we come into mastery of JIT. So I'll just share with you the 10 most frequently used and 10 most important commands that you need as a developer. So without wasting a lot of time, let's go deep into it. So the first one, I'll create kind of a small project here so that it will help us kind of test or maybe go through the entire JIT. So what I'll just do, let me do this. Let me delete this file and then yeah, so here I'll be using the integrated terminal to show you these commands in JIT. So first thing that we need to do is I'll create a product here or a repo here. That's JIT GitLab. I'm using GitLab. So you just go to gitlab.com, then log in or sign up, create an account, and then you go to create a new blank project. So I'll just say JIT tutorial. This is a branch that I'll create. You can give it a description and wherever, keep it private or public, and then you create that repo. So I have my repo here created, JIT tutorial, and now that will help me run into my first command. So there's this URL here on under clone, and that will give us our first command, which is JIT clone. So let me create a file and say, let me call it cheat sheet. .txt. So the first one is JIT clone. So what does this command do? So for example, in here under this folder, let's say I want to clone my product, my repo. So I'll just say JIT clone and then I put that URL there. So that URL, remember I copied it from the repository. So JIT clone is basically a command which will help us download the existing source code on our remote repository like GitHub, Bitbucket, and then it will create an identical copy of that, the latest code online. It will create a complete replica of it and put it in our local repository. So that's the command. You just say JIT clone and then you tap on enter. So this will go to my, you see here it has created the folder and it has read this readme. That readme comes from here. So you see my JIT repository has this file on the readme, the default created readme, and that's what it has created the copy of it inside this JIT. That's command number one. Let's move to command number two. What's number two? JIT branch. JIT branch is our next. So let me just quickly switch to this JIT repo so that it will help us. So currently I'm working on that folder. So what does JIT branch do? So for example, if I say here JIT branch, there are three commands here. One for creating a branch, the second one for viewing a branch, and the third one for deleting a branch. Branches are highly important because as a developer, we might be sharing a project together, like we are programming, three of programmers are doing maybe a peer programming or a team project. Parallel, you want to simultaneously update your online repository. That's the where now branches come into play. So we need branches to do that. In that, I might have my branch, the next developer his branch, and the third one. And then after we are done, we can merge it into one branch or maybe into master. So the first one is Git branch. If you say Git branch, that one will show you the current existing branches. So that's for listing. Before that, how can we create a new branch? So we can just say Git branch, and then you say you give it a branch name, for example, develop. So if you do that, it will create a branch, and when I come to list, I'll see now I have two branches. First is main, the second one is develop. So I have now two branches that are in my repository. Now I can check out to this branch by saying git, that's my third command, which is git checkout. But before that, let's see how you delete a branch. So you can say git branch and then delete, you say develop. But before that, let's see. If you say git branch, that's a listing. Also, you can use this command git and that option for list. It will do the same thing. So if you want to delete, you can say git branch and then you add option -d and then you give the name of that branch that you want to delete. So if you say that, it will delete the branch develop. And now if you list, you'll only see one branch, which is the main branch. So also the third command in our list is git checkout. So git checkout is the third one, git checkout. Now this is one of the most used git command. Number 3, to work in a branch, you need, like, we have created a branch, but how can we now go to that branch to work on it? That's where now we use git checkout. So if you git checkout to, like right now, if I have this branch, let's say I've created a branch called develop and another branch called Samsung. Yeah, so if I list all my branches, I'll have 3 branches. So if I want to switch to either of the branches, that's where now we'll use this git checkout. So git checkout, and then you have the branch name, let's say develop, will now take me to the to that branch checkout. So you'll see switching to branch checkout. And now if we list, you'll see now our develop has changed to the green color. Initially we had it on main, so that was the main color, and now we are having it in the green. So it means we now moved to the second branch, which is develop. Now, at times, there are also a shortcut. You might want to just directly create a branch and check out into it directly. So there's an option for that, whereby you can just say git branch, and then instead of creating first a branch, you can just put this option for B and then create that branch. For example, let's say now I'm creating a branch for deployment, yeah, or build or wherever I want. So git branch deploy, something like that. Snap, I had an error there. Sorry. I had an error there. Sorry. So I'll say git, we are not on branch, we are on git checkout, right? So sorry for that. You just use to switch to a new branch, you just say git checkout and then you put this option B, and so that will create a new branch. So this is a shortcut of checking out to a new branch which you want to create at the same instance. So you say, for example, I want to create a branch for deployment, so it will switch to that branch. And if I say git branch now to view, you'll find that I'm in this branch deploy. So it has created a new branch and at the same time checked out to that branch. Good. We go to the fourth, git status. So what does this one do? Git status. So this is our command number 4, git status. Git status now will tell you, for example, this one shows me that I'm on branch deploy and nothing to commit. So Git status command will give us all the necessary information you need to know about a branch. We can either pull information like, for example, is the current branch up to date? The local branch that you're having, is it up to date? That's the first. The second information you can gather is whether there is anything to commit, push, or pull from that branch. Also, it can tell us whether there are files which are staged or unstaged or untracked for that case, or whether there are files created or modified or deleted. So for example, if I just pick this cheat sheet of mine and then I add it into now our project, and then again I say git status, now you'll see I have one untracked files. Using git status now you can tell me I have one untracked files and what I need to do to add that file into the staging area. Guys, also I'm linking up a link to the Git tutorials now where I'll be explaining what this staging area means, what push means, what pull means, how to do that, how to use it in your project. We'll use it in one front-end project done in Vue. We do it in another project in React. We see how we can also use version management in a project like mobile app development, an iOS app, or an Android app. I'll show you all that and how you can do. Also, you can even use this Git to maintain your CV. For example, you're that guy who usually you lose your CV or your text file, any other text file which is important to you. You can keep it as private and then you can manage it using Git. Whenever you get a good job, then you can use it to maybe update your CV and stuff like that. Or even keep traces of CV. You have like 10 CVs. One I was applying one for software engineering, another one you're applying as a technical support, and another one you're applying as a data scientist. All those CVs, this one can help you. So I'll give you another full tutorial on how we can manage our CVs on Git, whereby whenever you want a CV for maybe a DevOps, you can just go there, go into your DevOps branch, pick your latest CV from there, and then apply a job with it. That's a simple use case of a Git. However, what are codes for? To make work easier, to make life interesting. That's what we're doing. So we can give it a try and do that. Next, we have Git add. Number 5. What does Git add do? So when we create, modify, or delete a file, these changes will happen in our local and won't be included in the next commit unless we change the configurations. So we need to use a git add command to include these changes of files or folders or whatever we have done onto our next commit. So to add a single file, for example, this file of mine called cheat sheet, I just do git add and then I say add cheat sheet. And if you start typing ch and then you press your tab key, it will autocomplete for you. So meaning it has seen the file which I've not added. What does this do? This one now will add this file to the staging area. More explained on the Git tutorial. You can go there and check. So it will send our file onto the staging area, whereby now we can easily send it to or upload it to now our remote repository. So also you can add everything. So this one is just to add one file. So if I do this, it will just add that one file. If I do git status again, now you see the color has changed from red to green. That means now our file is on the staging area, so we are ready to commit it. However, you can also do git add and then you say /all, or maybe that one will add the entire files that you're having, the files that you have changed. Also, you might say git add, then you put that period. That will now tell Git to pick everything on that current directory, all changes that you have done, or all modification to the files, and then add it to the staging area. So that will do it automatically. So both /a and the period one does the same thing. Yeah, good stuff. Let's go to the next one. So if I just do that and then I git status, it will show me all the files which have been added. So the next one, number 6, is git commit. So this is maybe the most used command in Git because you can't avoid it, of course, yeah. So once we reach a certain point of development or of coding, we want to save our changes. So maybe after a specific task, or maybe you have been given 3 bulletins of a task, you have completed the first 2 or the first one, you want to now commit that. So is like setting a checkpoint in a development process, which you can go back later on, and maybe if needed, you can go back to commit number 10, commit number blah blah blah, literally. So we also need to write like a short message to, along with that message, so that we know this commit was done for this, this, and this at this time, but we have a small message to explain what happened into that commit. Let me do this in my in real life. So I'll just say, for example, I've added that cheat sheet. So I'll just say git commit, and then I give it a message. And then it's a good practice to do this in current present tense on what that particular commit does. That's the best practices. So I'll just say git this commit do, it adds, or maybe add a new cheat sheet. Adds a new cheat sheet. So this one, you'll just keep it inside the quotes. If you don't do that, you can do git commit /m to say there's a modifier for message. If you just put up to there without these quotes and whatever, it will now ask you to enter long text. For example, you want to explain a lot of, like, you like a lot of stories, you want to explain blah blah blah, you can just reach to this M and then tap on enter. It will give you an editor to put all your details. But for me, I just have a short message, so I'll just say add a new cheat sheet. Then I tap on enter. So if I return on that, one file change, 5 insertions, create blah blah blah, it will give me the details of what I've done. I go back to git status. This will be using a lot of times. So it will just tell me the cheat sheet is added, blah, 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 to discard the changes, whatever. So I've just done a commit. Now, the last one now. So what we'll be doing, the last one is, not the last one, the 7th one is git push. Where do we use it now? So number 7, it's git push. Git push, after you commit now your changes, the next thing you need to do now is to send your changes to the remote server. So git push will now do that upload. Yeah, it will upload your commit to the online server, and you can give it various options. For example, you can say git push. For our case, you can just say git push, and then we give it the remote, like we say origin, of course. Whenever you're adding something like an origin, blah blah blah, you can say git push remote origin, maybe develop or master or whatever. If you want to just publish one directory or one branch. However, for my case, I just like doing it like this. You just say git push everything, push wherever the branches I've created, wherever the changes I've done on the repository, just push everything to avoid losing any changes. However, if a branch is newly created, then you also need to tell the git that set upstream. Yeah, you just say git push, and then you tell it to set upstream. At times it might ask you if you do any. Then you put the remote repository there, and then you have the branch name here. You just give it the branch name. So that one will set the upstream to the current branch, and then it will push all your changes. That is git push. Let me try that practically. Yeah, so you see I have a new branch called deploy. This is the branch. This is my remote repository. So it's telling me to use now the command to set upstream to my origin, to my remote deploy branch. Yeah, so if I do that, now it's pushing. Yeah, completely done. So if you're using VS Code, also here you can trace your files based on git. You just add the git extension that will help you. So you see my branch is now, we have created a new branch and I've deployed that one branch to my git. Right? Pretty cool. Let's go to command number 8, git pull. What does git pull do? This git pull is just a command, is like push and pull. Yeah, this pull command is used to get the updates from the remote repo. It's a combination of git fetch and git merge, basically, or literally. which means that when you use git pull, it gets the update from the remote repository. It will first do the git fetch, and then immediately after applying the latest changes in your local, it will do a git merge. Now it will try to merge what you're having online with what you're having locally. Let's do it in a practical way. Yeah, git pull. Let's try first. Yeah. And then you see everything is up to date. Now, assuming I've done some changes online here, for example, if I refresh, because I've pushed my changes online, if I refresh my git and then I come to this readme, and then, or even I add another file, maybe onto this readme, I can edit it and maybe add some details. Yeah, maybe added some details here, and then I commit that remotely. Remember, now here I'm doing it remotely, yeah, in my repo. So the repo is updated. Yeah, allow me to mark this. Yeah, so I've done a change online, right? So I've added something, and also I can add another file if I want to add a file and stuff like that. But that one I did into the main branch. I can do it also on deploy. And you see now I have like 3 branches, but I deployed on. I only sent the deploy branch onto the server or remotely. So that's why we are only having that branch here, and the rest of the branches are not committing. So now let me try again, do the git pull. We see if it will fetch and do the merge itself. Yeah, pretty cool. You see some difference. The first one told us you're already up to date, but now the second one, there are some changes. It will show us that where do we have these changes. There's the change in main branch, and the changes itself, it will pick and it will update our readme. But now we'll not be able to see it here unless now I check out to branch main. That's where now I'll be able to view. But now I have some changes, so I can't check out before I commit my changes in develop, right? Yeah, so I'll for now I'll stick to develop, but if I change to main, that's when I'll see the other branches. Yeah, so that's it. Let's go to the next, number 9, git revert. Git revert. What does git revert do? Sometimes we need to undo a change that we have made. There are various ways to undo our changes locally or remotely, depending on what we need to do. But we must be careful to use these commands to avoid unwanted deletion. You might delete your code in the process. So a safer way that we can do this is by using the git revert. To see our commit history first, we need to do git log, and then you can say here git. Let's do it practically. Git log, and then you say online. So you'll be able to see what's there on our online. Log online is one word, sorry. So you'll be able to see no, not online, but one line. Sorry for that. Yeah, so show it in one single line. So git log will this one will tell us on what you have done, the history and the changes that you have done on the git itself. So it will give us that history of the logs. Just to make it a bit clear, let me do this. Yeah, so it will show us, it will give us some small history, and then that's when now we can do the git revert after knowing what we want to do. So for example, I want to revert this. What will I do? So I'll just say git revert. I'll copy that and say git revert to this commit. So it will pick that commit. So it's good when you do a revert, you just need to specify the hash code next to our commit that you would like to revert to. So after this, you'll see a screen that will tell you on the changes that you need to do, like that one. So what you just need to do is quit out of that screen, and then your revert will be done. The last one, let me quit that first. Yeah, so that will return this git to now where you see it has created another which has has done those changes. So we have the third one there. So last one, because of time, I don't want this video to be too long, so we'll use git merge as the last one. So when you have completed your deployment in your branch and everything works fine, the final step is to merge the branch with the parent branch, either dev or master. This is done via this git merge. So it basically integrates your features, your featured branch, uh, with all of its commit back to the development of the master branch. So it's important to remember that you first need to be on a specific branch that you want to merge with your feature branch, and then you can do that merge under it. You can run that command. So for example, if you want to do a merge of, for example, right now, if I say git branch to list my branch, I'm in develop. So if I want to merge this develop that I'm having to make, or maybe merge this main to develop, so what I'll just need to do is inside develop, I'll just say git merge main. And the opposite is true. So this one, I'll merge main into my deploy. If I want to merge deploy to main, this is very confusing at times. I need to check out to main, and then main will be green for that case, and then I merge deploy. So you merge an outward, what can I call it, an outside branch. So first you switch into that, and then before you merge from an external point of view. So thank you guys for staying with me up to this far. So I'll be taking you through now the complete Git tutorial. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, like, comment, tell me which other command you think is key or maybe it's much important that it can replace one or two on this list, and then let's keep coding. Boom.